and traded. So let's bring in here Chris Webber for more on this, Sekou. Chris Paul, James Harden, how's that sound to you?
It sounds interesting. sounds interesting, but myself and other players some have a different perspective maybe than some in the media. In that I'm really interested in seeing how it works. First of all, I love Chris Paul. He's one of the best point guards. You know that in any situation he's going to rock it. He's going to do his thing. But being that the brilliance of last season was James Harden handling the ball, who's a tougher option, moving James to the 2, to me, does not make much sense. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. Also, pace of play. As players, again, you respect Chris Paul, but he's one of the guys that dribbles the ball the most in the league. He's one of the point guards that needs the ball the most. So how does that work with other teammates in a free-flowing offense? Now, Coach D'Antoni, Coach of the Year, I'm sure he'll figure it out. Chris Paul wants to win. I'm sure they'll figure it out. So it's not based on guys' character or are they willing to change. It's just that based on all their bodies of work, this is just very interesting to me, especially when you lose Beverly, who's the heart and soul of the team defensively, and Lou Williams, who was only there for a second, but was a leading scorer off the bench last year. So you lose some bench power, even though Gordon's going to step up. So it's just an interesting situation, and really just want to see how this plays out. And I'm glad I get to do a lot of games on the West Coast next year and watch this team as they go to work.
Webb, what does this say to you about what's going on with the Clippers? And I know Jerry West is in the mix now as a consultant, but CP deciding to leave like this, because they surely had to do this with his blessing. You're not going to just move him without consulting him at all. What does this tell you about what's going on with the Clippers and what their situation might be?
Yeah, I agree with you, Sekou. I don't even think it was his blessing. I think it was his demand. You don't trade Chris Paul unless he says, I want to be traded, period. He was one of the most, or the most beloved Clipper, the veteran that you could lead on. But a lot of players felt the last couple of years that it was just the media hyping up the Clippers because of Lob City, but lost the trust in the Clippers 2-3 years ago when the Warriors would beat them up all the time. I remember they were big brother to the Warriors, and the Warriors started beating them up, and they never really did anything from being Lob City. Let's just think the Splash Brothers, we haven't really called them that because they've just been winning. It was a unique form, fun to describe them, but you have to kind of out-mature or outlive that moniker that you're given when you're a young team on your way. And so it doesn't surprise me that some major moves were made, but wow, you love the offseason of the NBA because who knew that Chris Paul could be going, to play with a guy that could have been MVP twice in the last 4 years in James Harden.